Annie. Annie was born in a modest little house, the daughter of a farmer. Her mam passed away when she was very young. 'Twas the fever that did claim her. Her father left his farm and took to the roads. Indeed, regrets were many. He left his bonny girl with a lady and a lord, so farewell to darling Annie. She learned to bake, and she learned to sew, and to keep a house quite canny. She learned how to read, and she learned to write, and her dreams, they were a many. The lord and the lady had a fine son, who was but 3 years older. When Annie felt sad and missed her da, she'd cry upon his shoulder. Oh, the years went by, and at 16 she said, "It's time I go, for I must find my fortune, and it's not here, I know. And you must help me, Tom," she said. "I must have a disguise." She knew how much this hurt him, for she saw it in his eyes. "Please don't go, my Annie, but stay and marry me, for I'll never love another as much as I love thee." "Oh, Tom," she said, "I care for you, but see you as a brother. You'll find true love in your good time, but it must be with another." Then she put on his brown waistcoat and breeches of moleskin. He took his scarf of yellow silk and tied it 'neath her chin. She kissed his cheek and saw full well the tears that he was drying. "Farewell to you, dear Tom," she said, and she too felt like crying. The road, in Annie's words. I stole off down the road that night with my little pack and said goodbye to country life. I never shall come back. In my cap and breeches, I looked like the young man. I'd find my fortune on the sea. At least that was my plan. I stopped to rest at midnight in a grove of trees, when sounds of tambourines I heard carried on the breeze. Then laughter and a fiddle sweetly claimed the air. I tucked my curls into my cap and stepped out of my lair. "Come join us," said the merry folks, "and tell us where you're going. And let us share our bread and wine. Tonight it's freely flowing. We've many a fortune told this day. Tonight our purse is full. We have 3 fine flagons here, and we shall drain them all." "It's me off to the sea," I said, "and if you go that-a-way, I'd be inclined to join you and enjoy your company. It seems a fine coincidence, for the harbor is our goal. We'll tell the sailors' fortunes there. Our pockets they shall fill." A lass stepped up beside me, saying, "Sir, you are quite slender." I answered in a low voice that would not reveal my gender. "It's true that I am scrawny and even short of stature, but I'm as strong as any and possess a solid nature. Forgive me, sir. I meant no harm. Indeed, I find you charming." This said, the lassie grabbed my hand. I found that quite alarming. She noticed then my blushing cheeks and stared into my eyes. The look reflected back to me was one of great surprise. Many days I traveled with that good gypsy clan. One night that bonny gypsy Rose said, "Give to me your hand. I'll tell your fortune well and true, and not a pence you'll pay. I see you'll meet adventure, miss, in this strange game you play." Once more I felt my color rise. I knew I'd been found out. "I'll keep your secret well and true. Of that please have no doubt. Are you a fugitive?" she asked, this wise young gypsy girl. "Oh, no, not that. I'm but a lass who wants to see the world, for I have lived the country life for 10 long years or so. In all that time I've yearned for more, so on this path I go. I have great dreams that breach the waves, and on them I shall ride, for I'd not be content to watch from shore that rolling tide. I'm bound to see the foreign shores and foreign lands I'll see. If there be dragons past some point, then surely they'll have me. I've seen the maps of many lands, indeed they do enthrall me. And I've heard tell of mermaids, at times I swear they call me. Great dangers lie beneath the deep, that shall not break my will. And if my life be short or long, I'll live it to the full. Now, please tell me, What was the thing that gave away my guise? For I shan't travel as a lass until I've gained my prize. Rose said, "'Twas when I noticed that your cap was full of curls, and the look you held in your blue eyes could not be but a girl's." I threw my leather cap off then. Yes, that'll have to change. Lend me your sharp dagger, and my hair I'll rearrange. I then sliced off the gold-red crown as one blue ribbon held it. It was too late to turn back then. As for my past, I'd killed it. The lassie's eyes grew wide. She said, "You've ruined your beauty, true. I'll keep this ribbon round my wrist, and I'll remember you." I shook my head and laughed with glee. Sure, beauty's not my aim. I must look to be a lad if I'm to win my game. Laughter did surround us then, and in the pale moon's light, I saw the friends I come to love, and I, their heart's delight. And if they knew my secret too, they never said a word, for when I waved and took my leave, "Farewell, young sir," I heard. The harbor town. At last we found the harbor town and went our separate ways. I hold within my memory the pleasures of the days and nights we spent in song and dance and friendship all around. And from that lovely time to this, no better folks I found. I'd learned to tell a fortune, too. There was no magic to it. And when I needed food and drink, I'd set my mind to do it. I took the odd job here and there, bearing poverty. At last I saw her golden sails a-shining on the sea. As she rolled into harbor, that great majestic beauty, I watched her every surge and sway and said, "This one's for me." For she was all magnificence, embodied in a ship. Her sails were like the 4 strong winds as they did billow and whip. At her bow a mermaid rose, a secret in her smile. "I'll know you well," she seemed to say, "in but a little while." Evening came, and with it boats bringing her men to shore. She sat waiting, tall and proud. That sight I did adore. I felt a pounding in my chest as wave-worn men came chanting. They asked for flagons, every one, indeed some were ranting. At last a man with wild white hair came into my view. He rudely pushed myself aside, saying, "Lad, be gone with you, and bring to me a flagon full, the best there is to offer." At this he tossed a silver coin. "The rest is for your coffer." I took the coin and hurried myself to the nearest inn, and bought a flagon frothy full of ale, the best therein. I turned to go. I saw his face. He said, "What honesty! Come sit a while. I'll bend your ear and tell you of the sea." Then he shouted, "Wench, come here and bring this lad a drink. For though his brow looks cool and dry, he does thirst, I think." "You're right, good sir, I thirst indeed for all that you might tell me. For my desire lies on those waves and on that ship so bonny. A bonny ship she is indeed, she makes the great sea proud, for she's my golden galleon, with fortune she's endowed. Her only master is the sea, indeed I'm not her master. She allows me but to guide her on this grand quest we're after. And we both love our stormy sea, he is both fierce and kind. Sometimes I think that he and I are truly of one mind." His laughter roared as the stories seemed to pour out like the ale. I sat in rapt attention as all night he did regale. At last he looked into my eyes and said, "What talent have you? For if you know the ink and pen, from this old town I'll save you." "I need a lad to draw for me the maps of all the lands that now reside inside my head, a job for clever hands. I see your hands are slight and fine, yet work has passed between them. And if you choose to work for me, it's gold that would redeem them." "I do accept your offer, sir, and honored I will be, that when your lady leaves this port, she will indeed have me." My captain brought me clothes so fine, befitting my new station, for I would share his cabin and enjoy the cook's full ration. I'd tossed my tattered clothes, and yes, they were a sight, but kept the scarf around my neck and held it close at night. I looked quite like the gentleman in my new shirts and vest, for I had wrapped a piece of cloth around my girlish chest. I laughed as I recalled the look in that old tailor's eye. He wondered how a seaman's lad could be so very shy. On board the Lady. As we cast off in the small boat and nearer to her we came, my captain said, "Now tell me why you've yet to speak your name." My mind was caught in a jumble, and likewise was my tongue. I said, "My kin have called me lad since I was very young. But I can't very well be calling you lad, for you'll soon be a man. So tell me, what was the name of your da, and we shall use that one." But my poor da seemed far away, leaving nary a promise. So I piped up, and sure enough I said, "The name is Thomas." "Ah, yes, that is a very fine name, and Thomas it shall be, and you shall be a fine seaman and a right good friend to me." My first step upon her deck, my legs were all a-quiver. I looked above at her glorious masts, and my very soul did shiver. We sailed away, and as I watched, indeed the land looked small. "It's me off to adventure," I said, "and sure I'll take them all." The first day out my stomach rolled along with that rolling sea. The seabirds followed all about, they laughed and squawked at me. When rations came, they were my friends, for I could not swallow a bite. But I knew I'd have to steel myself, and ate hearty the next night. The 10th day out a storm came up that made the sea a demon. The captain laughed and shook his head. "Can you hear those mermaids screamin'? They're down there cursing the heavens for stirring up their home." 'Twas then I thought of the safety of land and of my country home. That home I'd left just months ago seemed only a dream to me. So I closed my eyes and gave myself again to that raging sea. And after a while, his mood became calm, as it always will. But I found myself in a fitful sleep and woke with a cloying chill. I felt a rough hand caress my cheek. A robe was wrapped around me. "Just rest, young Tom, and when you wake, 'tis the sunshine you shall see." And as he said, when I awoke, the sun shone in my face. Never again shall I wish for less than being in this place. And so the time did roll away, and I took to my task. I used fine inks from India, and every day was asked what I thought of this or that, and did I enjoy my duty? And proud I was of the maps I drew, for in them there was beauty. "There lies great treasure here," he said, "that never has been found, but we shall find it near this oak, sleeping under the ground." And sure enough, when we reached the land and walked on to the shore, we came upon that mighty oak. Her secret held no more. The treasure was divided, and all got his fair share. I kept my sack beneath my desk. It felt like a comfort there. I was now a man of fortune, following my plans. At night I felt the golden coins grow warm between my hands. We stepped upon exotic shores, and from each took a treasure. Soon my stash had grown so vast, nearly beyond measure. I bought myself a box of paints and brushes of finest hair. Indeed, my maps were colorful and quite beyond compare. I kept them in a journal, and always close to me. They were for my captain's eyes and mine, of course, to see. Ghost Ship. One night there was a fog so thick that any knife could slice. I stood on deck, and on the air my ear caught a strange voice. High above a ghost appeared, with face a skull and crossbones. That ghastly voice grew louder then, and took on hostile tones. All of our men lay sleeping. I was quite alone. I felt a fear that clamped my heart, a fear I'd never known. For these men were marauders. They meant to take our ship, And if my fear destroyed my will, they'd have her in their grip. Then I'd shout in a strong voice, the deepest I could contrive. That's close enough, my merry men, if you wish to remain alive, for there are 200 muskets pointing at your eyes, and if you try to climb on board, all of your number dies. Then from below I heard the sound of our own men awaking, 200 muskets sure enough, and ready for the taking. I ran to our great arsenal and took not one but two. These fragile hands be damned, I said. My ship, I'll die for you. I fired my musket into the fog till all the charge is spent. Then I fired the other until it too was silent. The stillness seemed to fall like lead on our intrepid ship. We watched that ghost ship glide away. Into the fog it slipped. How many alive? My captain yelled. Raise your voices high. 100 voices pierced the night. We had all survived. Injuries there were that night, but still there was the glory of warding off the pirates and alive to tell the story. Myself, I caught a musket shot that I could not defy. It indeed had grazed my face and stolen my left eye. But I felt brave and happy, for she'd not come to harm, and all of the crew had thanked me for sounding the alarm. My captain bandaged up my head. He spoke with tears in his voice. Tom, you're like a son to me, and I offer you this choice. You've made your fortune on the sea, but she can't be your wife. So take the gold you have in store and start another life. There's land galore for the taking, and you can have your share. So say farewell to the lady and find contentment there, or remain here at my side and continue on with me, for you have been my brightest star, my hero of the sea. I'm not long for these waves, I fear. My life is sadly fleeting. I have but one short year before this heart stops beating. But I have lived a glorious life. I've seen the midnight sun. I've walked the halls of palaces, and many a heart I've won. And when I go to take my rest among the mermaids fair, I would bequeath my lady to you and leave her in your care. Now take some time to think on this. Don't make a quick decision, for you must do what's right for you. You must live your vision. This good man had won my heart. I loved him as a father. I could not leave this life behind and go and seek another. I gently touched my captain's face, then firmly shook his hand. I'd not abandon you or her for any amount of land. I donned a black patch on the left. My right eye served me well. My mirror showed the pirate now, with many a tale to tell. One short year, we came upon a rocky coast just close enough to see a group of lovely maidens laughing merrily. Stay back, one cried. These jagged rocks will be the death of thee. Avoid our lonely island here. Return to your deep sea. We've come too close, our captain said. We must not tarry here. But as he spoke, one crewman cried, Indeed, I have no fear. That maid's a Selkie, captain said. She could not be your wife. Would you remove her from her home and steal away her life? I'm lonely, sir, and I would have one bonny maid for me. But they'd all turned to seals again and slipped into the sea. Some may say the seaman's life is a lonely one, but we see friends all on the waves on pods of dolphins run. They glide along beside us, they leap into the air, and when they sense the dangers, they will tell us to beware. Sometimes we let them guide us away from deserted isles. Great secrets lie in those black eyes and those enchanting smiles. To see the ball of sun fall down is beauty to behold. We know that it will rise again to turn our sea to gold. To lay upon our deck at night and see a million stars, we take such comfort knowing that both sea and sky be ours. So we continued as we were, and in that one short year, My captain's health was failing. I knew his death was near. It was a day in summer. The sea was calm and blue. My captain called me from my work. "Tom, I'd speak with you." I took his callous hand in mine and held it to my cheek. The hand that once had been so strong now seemed frail and weak. "You've been like my own child to me, and I've loved you as a son. I'd have loved you as my daughter, too, for you're my dearest one. I have kept your secret, for the reasons are your own. But tell me now, if you can, while we are here alone, what is your true and given name, and the nature of such sorrow that you'd deny your own sweet self and take a lie to borrow?" The tears came streaming down my face. Annie was my name, and I had dreams no lass should have. In that I felt no shame. I wanted more than country life. Indeed, I dreamed of glory, and here my dreams are realized. Now, I'll tell my story. I told my captain of my youth. He listened carefully. When I was done, he kissed my cheek and said, "Now, girl, be free. You're captain of the Lady now. Farewell, my dear Annie. My captain sleeps beneath the waves with the mermaids fair. He knows the lady sails above. I'm sure he's found peace there." Captain Annie. The crew had guessed my gender, but being good and true, neither told the other, so they kept my secret too. I gathered them together to admit my gold deception. "Would you agree to stay and have a maiden as your captain?" One strong voice rang out and said, "We'd follow you to Hades, and we will serve you well and true, for now we serve two ladies." We sailed the South Seas that winter. The air was fragrant and still. We gazed upon that lush green isle till our eyes had had their fill. That isle was a thing of perfect form as it sat upon the sea. Its tall green trees and waterfalls seemed to beckon me. Young men swam out to meet our boats, and maidens close behind. They dove into the water, and their lovely skin did shine. It was the color of fine cocoa, and their hair was black as night. To see them swim like dolphins was indeed our heart's delight. This place contained a treasure, buried long ago by my own dear captain. He had told me so. I walked alone to find the place, while my crewmen laughed and played. I stopped beside a waterfall, and in the grass I laid. I thought about my lady, and I thought about my life. Would I never be a sweetheart? Would I never be a wife? I opened up the lovely map I'd made, a copy of one he'd drawn. I found the rock that marked the spot, then slept in the grass till dawn. My dreams were wild and scattered. Strange images came to me. I saw a man with silver hair riding on the sea. Treasure. Let us dig up this treasure, men, and here we'll let it stay. For sure it belongs to these gentle folk, and they must have their say. My good men did agree, for they all had gold in store. And when your pockets are so full, you'll long for gold no more. We brought up that old treasure chest and opened up the lid. It held the silver, gold, and jewels, and underneath was hid a piece of the finest parchment that I had ever seen. The script was written out in red. 'Twas blood, or so it seemed. It began, "My dearest sweetheart, I've loved you very well. This was to be your wedding gift," the note went on to tell. How she had truly loved him too, and planned their wedding day. But death had stepped between them and had stolen her away. As I read, my tears streamed down, causing the words to blend. But at the end, I clearly saw my own dear captain's hand. I folded up the love note and put it in my pocket, and saw, amidst the gold and jewels, a lovely oval locket. It held a curl of jet black hair and one of purest white, bound by a red ribbon. in a sailor's knot so tight. That locket became the treasure that I kept close to my heart, a reminder that not even death can tear true love apart. We left 2 crewmen on that isle. They remained there to live, for they desired the companionship that a wedding vow could give. We wished them well and set sail again. To the harbor town we'd go, for I felt that something called to me. What it was, I did not know. The fortune. 'Twas 10 years had flown away since I left my country home. I stepped upon the familiar shore and walked the streets I'd know, noticing a painted sign that read, "Your fortune told." I stepped inside, and there she stood, a vision to behold. For yes, it was the bonny rose who first befriended me. "Give to me your hand," she said. "I'll tell you what I see. You have met adventures, for on the sea you ride, and it's still this game you play, and you've been no one's bride." Then I pulled off my jaunty hat and said, "Yes, it is I." She threw her arms around me. I heard her softly sigh. "You've sacrificed your beauty, and that sea has claimed your eye. What beguiles you there?" she asked, "and tell me not a lie." I held her lovely hands in mine. I said, "I'll tell you true. The same things I said years ago, I'd say again to you. And yes, I found my fortune on that majestic sea. No other arms could hold me. It's the only life for me. I have seen exotic lands and peoples dark and fair. I've taken tokens from each place. Indeed, I have had my share. And as for being someone's bride, that I'll never do. For only one man keeps my heart, and to him I've been true. I wear his scarf around my neck. I hold him in my heart. I scarce recall his face, it's true. We've been so long apart. But in my dreams he comes to me and softly strokes my brow. He whispers, "Annie, please come back and let us take our vow." But morning always comes too soon and steals this dream from me, and he and land do slip away, for I am of the sea. Don't cry for me, my bonny rose. I have what I was seeking. Now what of you? How goes your life? What lies within your keeping? Just then a lovely face appeared from behind the curtain. Wide brown eyes and coal black hair. This was her child for certain. The gypsy rose tells her story. "I left my clan and stayed here in this old harbor town, and fell in love with the blacksmith John, a good man all around. We've had plans to marry. The ring was on my hand. But in one frightful moment, his life came to an end. Our plans died with John that night, but he left me with my girl. And now I live my life for her. She is my lovely pearl. I make a paltry living here, but I shan't sell my sorrow. Our love was true when it was young. Our time was but to borrow. There have been many who have asked to take the vow with me, but I, like you, love just one man, and he sleeps in that sea. On lonely nights I walk the shore with bunch of flowers and spill the petals on the wave and while away the hours. I think of how he loved me and how I'd be his wife, and then my mind strays to those men who cruelly took his life. For they did steal his gold and goods, his horses they took too. They killed both our hearts that night, then down the road they flew." Sail away, Rose. "Come with me, my Rose," I cried. "Leave this harbor town, for there are many lands to see. We'll sail the world around. Or I could take you to a town, a better one than this. I'd buy for you a house and land, this life you'd never miss." So Gypsy Rose packed up her gear, and with Sweet Pearl in tow, she came with me aboard my ship, and a sailin' we did go. My good men were thrilled to have a little child on board. They told her stories endlessly. Ah, yes, she was adored. Rosie, too, was treated fine because she was a lady. Many crewmen fell in love, but she'd not have a matey. We sang and danced the nights away, indeed her fiddle sang. And when she'd see into their palms, oh, how the laughter rang. For Joe would marry a mermaid, and Sean would become a king. All were blessed with Rose's best, and they loved to hear the telling. We found for Rose a grand lighthouse. A friend of mine lived there. He was a kind and gentle man whose home he'd gladly share. Rose would not live on the sea, nor have a city home, so I left with her 5 sacks of gold in case she wished to roam. But she took to that lighthouse and furnished the room so fine. I'd bring her gifts from every port, pretty dresses and sweet wine. One day I came to visit her and saw her smiling face. Pearl had grown an inch or 2, that bonny little lass. Ahoy there, Captain Annie. Come in and have some tea. You'll see me happy with my man, and we both married be. Then he walked up beside them and took them in his arms. I could never have wished for such happiness and lassies with such charms. He said, I thank you, Annie, for you've enriched my life. For now I have both a bonny child and a lovely wife. We spent that evening laughing and singing gypsy songs. She taught him every single one, and he did sing along. I kissed them all and left that night. I rode back to my wife. In one small way, I envied them the sweetness in their life. 5 more years had flown away since I'd walked the harbor street. I stepped into a public house to rest my tired feet. Then I heard a voice familiar. I turned and but could stare, for there he stood, my own sweet Tom, the silver in his hair. I came up close beside him. I touched his shoulder, too. His face turned pale. His green eyes flashed. Annie, is that you? He took me in his arms then, without a hesitation. I said, Dear Tom, indeed it's me. And I would ask one question. Have you ever found your own true love? And do you have a wife? Yes, he said. I found true love early in my life. And here she stands before me, in eye patch and men's clothes. I see my scarf around her neck, and on each cheek a rose. And yes, he caught me blushing, for at last my prize I'd won. I smiled and said, Oh, Thomas, I have always been your own. And back we went to my ship that night, and there we took our vow, then danced to our own music till the sun shone on the prow. And I'd put on my crimson and petticoats of green, for I had bought from every port gowns befitting a queen. I let my gold-red curls hang down, and past my waist they came. I tied them with his yellow scarf, near tattered now with time. And time has been a friend to us, as any would agree. For I have my true treasure now, and he, of course, has me. Epilogue. Da. As Tom and Annie walked along the harbor streets they'd known, recalling their reunion and how their love had grown, they came upon a ragged form slumped 'neath a lantern pole. One could tell that hard times indeed had taken toll. Annie reached into her pocket and drew out several coins. Take these, good sir, and with them may you and luck be joined. Fine sir, the ragged form spoke up, I would not a beggar be. But if you deem to fill my hand, I'd tip my hat to thee. 'Twas then the man in ragged clothes did look into her eye. The blue was reminiscent of a lovely summer sky. He laughed a quiet, cheerless laugh. His eyes began to tear. Your face reminds me of a face my heart still holds so dear. And though you look the gentleman, your features are quite fine. Your face holds the angelic look of that precious wife of mine. He took the coins and tipped his hat, then wiped a tear away. And as he turned to take his leave, Annie said, "Please stay." She turned to Tom, his look confused, a question in his eyes. "Trust me, my love," she said to him. "I shall soon show you why. This man, though old and broken, seems familiar to me. Let us invite him to the inn." Tom did, of course, agree. The invitation was accepted. The three did step inside. "Good day, old Jim," the pubman said. "With whom do you abide?" Jim replied, "These gentlemen have now invited me to lift a flagon to my lips, so do please bring us three." Annie sat across from Jim and smiled a lovely smile. "Indeed, we'll quench our thirst," she said, "and talk for just a while." She threw off then her jaunty hat. Her gold hair tumbled down. It graced her neck and lovely face, much like a shining crown. Old Jim stared in disbelief. "Oh, this can never be! My own dear wife, dead 30 years, now sits in front of me?" Annie laughed and softly said, "Indeed, I'm not your wife. But did you have a daughter in the summer of your life?" His old eyes did search her face. "How can this all be true? My own dear child I gave away. Can that child be you?" "It is the truth. I've missed you, Da, and hoped that you were well. My life has seen adventures grand, more than I can tell. And seeing your face once again, I thank the stars above. And what we've missed in time and tides, we'll fill in with our love." Her old Da then took her hands and pressed them to his chest. His eyes told of his love for her. His story told the rest. Tom and Annie took old Jim on board the ship that day. Long-time regrets were lifted as his spirits sailed away. He left all burdens on the land, all sorrow he left there. For on those waves lived hope and love and happiness to share. They did reside most happily upon that ship at sea, for lost love found is just as sweet as any love could be. That ship has passed from hand to hand as years have flown away, but the spirits of Tom and Annie reside there to this day. She learned the musket and the knot, and treasures there were many. That flag flies high and proudly still, the bonny Lady Annie. She brings us through the stormy nights and all the gust of gales. And when the sun shines gold again, so shines Our Lady's sails.